Well, we're back for a dynamic episode. That's everything I can say. I'm just ready to jump in the pool and just talk about our discussions, because we have our part two. And it's been about maybe a couple months
Yeah.
since it's been, and we've had some amazing views and reviews and commentary on our YouTube channel that I'm really excited and proud about, and am hoping for that same trajectory from this show today. What about you, Lord G?
I am. I'm excited. I mean, the YouTube channel definitely blew up. People are very interested in your story.
Mhm.
And I think you guys have a lot more to share. We just ran out of time when we were together the last time. So
Right.
I'm excited for a dynamic day.
Linford, I'm wondering what's happening with the writing. Have you still
Uh,
been writing lately?
yes, I have been writing. I kind of like, did something that I normally don't do, and I hope I didn't like jinx myself. Is that I actually start kind of like sharing like my manuscript with, foreign ears just to see what kind of feedback
Mm-hmm.
that I would get from somebody that's kind of like away from the familiarity of, the inner city life, but gets a lot of their information from like watching
Mm-hmm.
TV, music, stuff like that. And so I gave maybe like a chapter up,
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
and it was joy and pain and laughter and tears, from that individual about just, being privileged to read that chapter
Mm-hmm.
about, the true life story of Linford Burns, how I remember it.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like crazy for me. Like, I can't remember how to get back to the studio. You know what I mean? But I can recall all these things from my childhood vividly.
Mm-hmm.
Like I see that, and then there's spaces that it's just like blurred,
Mm-hmm.
and I have to have somebody come in and fill in the blanks. But for me, storytelling and being able to recall that information from what other people tell me is a great gift. So I enjoy doing it, and
Mm-hmm.
it'll be completed, you know, when, you know,
And it's time.
when he tells me
Yeah.
it's time to let it, to end it.
For
So,
that chapter, though, but
yeah.
for that
Well,
particular novel.
I'm in 1987 now, so it's projected to end in 1995, and then I'll kind of have like not too much of the prison story incorporated because
Mm-hmm.
we talk about a lot of that now, but kind of like speak on it briefly and incorporate into that all the instances where a little boy was crying out for help,
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
and being in juvenile institutions and stuff like that. you know
We
it's a
can take
two-edged sword where you crying out for help, but you still trying to stay down,
right.
but the help wasn't there. So then you got this attitude. I always say that's where my attitude "fuck the police" came from. Excuse me, but that's where it came from. It came from that neglect of wanting someone to intervene and help, and
Yeah.
never showed up. So I was just committed to just this is what it is, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Gotta look at those hard times.
Mhm.
It is what it is.
But I'm writing to answer your question.
I'm happy to hear that you're still writing.
Want me to share some with you? I got.
Yeah, huh,
Yeah.
Sissy? If you cool with that,
Absolutely.
Ron?
You would
Yes.
like to.
Yeah. You
You would
good
like
with
to.
that?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
have to pull it up though.
Okay.
It's on my phone.
That's
Okay.
fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can pull it up.
Okay,
Yeah.
of
Jack
course.
can take a drink.
Share a little bit.
Yeah. And so while we set that up, Ron, you can give us an update on how you've been doing over the last few months and so.
I've been doing good. Just working,
Yeah.
working, and working on the project with a close friend, Kenya Ware, who has her own film
Yeah.
production
I'm familiar.
concerning it's called The Boy Who Built the Army,
Right.
the Raymond Washington story. We did a
Yes.
screening maybe a couple months ago, so we're gonna do another one
All right.
probably before January. So we got people looking at it right now. So that's basically my main focus outside of
Mm-hmm.
everyday living,
Right, right,
working,
right.
and
Doing the
just
film.
making sure the household is right and family is cool.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that sounds exciting.
That's a
Yeah.
huge project.
I need
Yeah.
assistance to get my phone
Okay.
from here.
Sure, sure, sure.
Mhm.
Or somebody.
Wanna get that? No
Absolutely.
worries. We'll get that for us.
So these two, you just squeeze them down.
Squeeze them down.
Yeah.
There we go.
Now could
Okay.
you power it on for me?
Oh, absolutely.
So it's the
Okay,
bottom
cool.
button.
Right here.
Yeah, that one. Just hold it.
Yeah. So were you doing some footage on that work with Kenya?
Yeah.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
that's
We
good. I put more in return.
the screening that we did was nice.
I bet
The
so.
whole layout was good. Everybody had a little interview in it. Some is deceased now, like my grandmother, the Barefoot Pookie, a few other guys
Mm-hmm.
that was in the interview and the documentary. And we trying to make it into a movie too. So
Really?
that's the plan. That's the plan. So just keep it in God's hands on that one.
Exactly. So that's good. In the
Yeah.
community doing some film work.
Yeah.
I
And
love to hear it.
do outreaching with the
Mhm.
mental health. That's my job. I work for the county doing outreach with DMH.
Okay.
Mhm.
That's always been my thing before when getting out of prison to give back to the community.
Mhm.
Okay.
And I started off working with the Circle, which was Urban Alchemy, which was dealing with the homeless.
Mm-hmm.
Then I went from there to going into the DMH part of the mental
Right.
health. So that's what I do now. I'm a community health worker, and I just hit the streets of LA,
Mm-hmm.
talking to the homeless as well as people that's dealing with mental health,
Mm-hmm.
and try to help them as much as I can.
Right. Right.
Whether
Let
it be
them know about
medicine,
the different services that are available.
exactly, like getting them housed. If they need medicine, we have a nurse practitioner and other people that can assess them and get them meds.
Mm-hmm.
We come to them as they are.
Right.
We don't make them leave. I mean, if that's where they choose to sleep, but we just let them sleep there. And we just come back over here and outreach with them every day
That's beautiful.
as my as a personal client. That will be
Mm-hmm.
probably my personal client where I have to go and check on him. If he's ready for housing, we could put you in there. You need a shower, I can provide that.
Mm-hmm.
You hungry, I can provide a meal for you.
Amen.
So things like that. I guess
That's
it's called
beautiful.
living the men's.
Yeah. No. Yeah.
Doing things and not looking for nothing in return. I'm not looking for nothing in return
Mm-hmm.
when I do it. You know what I'm saying? Because I terrorized the community. I'm one of the ones, and I hate to say it, but I did. So why not try to give back?
Right.
Mhm.
I've been blessed back home, so I have to
Awesome.
take advantage of it by doing the right things.
I'm so happy that you made it back home too.
Yeah.
Hey, what you
Okay.
got going on?
Well, I had to go and
Uh-huh.
this is not my tablet, so
Oh.
it's a good thing that I have my phone kind of like connected. So
Mhm.
I do have uh maybe about 10 chapters here. So I'm gonna ask you all the questions.
What's that?
Would you like to hear something in the opening or something more? Where the opening is basically the introduction and how I was on the sidelines, seeing things develop.
Mhm.
Uh, or I can give you something more in the institutional aspect of when I, began to enter into the system and, the things that, I had to do as far as representing the Crips and stuff like that. And a couple of people that I met along the way that kind of like pushed me and told me, hey, this is how it goes. And also, where I believe, I began to develop in my own mind this urge to connect the dots with the homies that were close to me, my day ones, like actually giving us, a title like the Big Six, because it was really like six of us that was in the same age group that began to like really venture out,
Mm-hmm.
into our surroundings.
Mhm.
with the older homies and
I know they
became
had to be
mains.
hard though. Was it hard?
Uh,
Facing, you know what I mean? Like when you in court and then they tell you this is the get down.
when you when you
And
in court,
mm-hmm.
I think for me it was like scary. Like I was scared. Just being honest. Because as a kid, you really don't know how it's gonna go. And I
How
wasn't
old were you, Linford?
when I first went to juvenile hall. I was
Mm-hmm.
9.
9.
Yeah,
Just a baby.
I was 9, and I can give you a piece of
Okay.
that, or I can let me see, just to share with y'all. I give you some of the opening. So, chapter 1, 1977, age 7, seeds of a wannabe crip take root. My mother had grounded me for a fight at 54th Elementary School. Pee Wee, they called me. Grandma Ruth had nicknamed that for me. Pressed against the living room window, I watched the block summer heat bounce off cracked asphalt as Schwinn Stingrays and banana seat cruisers roared up our warped plywood ramp, cinder blocks toppling under every spin. Kids hollered dares, bet I can jump higher than you, while toy trucks skidded in mock battles. Star Wars made its debut, but my head wasn't on scraped knees of popcorn and blockbuster films. I daydreamed of slipping free, meeting the Crip locos I'd spied in blue bandanas, trailing OGs through alleys lit by busted streetlights. Mom's warning rang in my ears. A hard head makes a soft ass. Punishment was lockdown, iron bars. And when it came to my schooling, heroin or not, she never missed her mark. My uncle said I had an old soul, and I was always in the dope business, talking with the gravity of someone twice my age. I didn't get their truths then. Only later would I recognize their hard-won wisdom in every cautionary word. I pictured the sandbox rock I'd egged on, its red blood against the sand like a warning, and the fight with the mall, whose pointing finger cost me 5 days of suspension.
Mm-hmm.
That was my first real taste of right and wrong. But remorse, I'd rather spin a blame game than sit in that shame. Marvin Gaye's Got to Give It Up spun on the component set turntable. The street itself kept time with my heartbeat. Fast forward 3 years, the same thrill that stirred behind this glass will be pulsing in my veins when I lace up my blue Converse and place my blue bandana inside my left pocket at dusk. No longer a spectator, but staking my claim. The first trap, denial and lies. Lies stack up thick on the block. Straight smoke screens to twist your brain, make you see fake realities. Let that ride, and the next thing you know, you're knee deep in delusion. Your mind stuck on repeat. Curiosity done body more cats than bullets ever did. On my corner, the OGs flexed in press khakis, creased dents sharp enough to cut, chain earrings under tilted Godfather hats, leather waistline coats hugged tight, ready for action. They smoked weed, popped pills, shot dice till dawn, hustled three-card Molly like a church raffle, all while still whisper from their waistbands. Blue rags draped our set, West Side Rollin 60 Crip gang territory. Big maniac Pricey, dressed to kill, tweed apple cat set tightly on top his head. Two French braids hung down his back, Charleston blue. Big Looney, cut an imposing figure in his crisp khaki suit, the fabric slightly wrinkled from wear, yet somehow still managing to exude a certain rugged elegance. Perched atop his head was a classic golf hat, a nod to a bygone era that lent him an air of old school cool. Tucked discreetly into his waistband was a pistol, a clear indication of his readiness for whatever challenges the day might bring. His way. I envisioned him as a teenager, prepared to face anything that came his direction, with unwavering resolve. Around here were names that resonated with a kind of mystical significance. Big J Stone, known for his imposing stature. Big Petey Wack, who was unpredictable, Antics kept everyone on their toes.
Mhm.
Crazy Wayne Waco, infamous for his reckless courage. Banker T, the mastermind of the group with connections that ran far and wide. Big PJ, whose laughter could fill a room. And Big Cat, who had an undeniable presence that demanded respect. These weren't just names, they were legends carved into the very fabric of our neighborhood. By the time I hit 9 years old, I had diligently worked to decode their intricate slang, mapping out their territories and navigating the unwritten rules of their domain in my mind. I had sworn an oath to myself that I would bleed for an invitation into their ranks, a testament to my desire for acceptance. To be initiated meant enduring tough challenges, knuckles split open from street fights, pockets filled with a jumble of 50-cent pieces, and quarters earned through curb pitching hustles. The dice rattling in my palm as I focused intently, and the heavy clang of jail cell doors resonating in my ears, a sound that sent shivers down my spine. This relentless cycle of violence, drugs, and lockups became my rite of passage, one that would haunt me as a lifelong sentence, stretching over 4 decades. Now I can continue to go on with the narrative, but again, this is a unedited version of what I'm doing, so I have to go back and polish the script, but just giving you kind of like an insight into my story
Right.
and where I'm going with it. But as you see, it's a whole lot of writing. See that? It's a whole lot. I've been working. So
Man,
yeah, I'm putting my heart into this right here.
how does things resonate with you when you
I
hear
was going
that
to ask
story?
Ron that. So when you hear you hear these this opening chapter, does that bring memories, or how does that resonate with you? Does it
It
remind
resonate.
you of things? It
It
does.
resonate. He went way back. I was 6 years old in '77, but the people that he named, Maniac, Waco, PJ, Banker, all of them was good people. Cat, they was all good people. So, and I looked up to him as a kid and had the privilege of knowing him outside of. I rarely knew Big Maniac, but I knew of him because I was a kid. But the rest of them I knew. So, um, man, yeah, I feel it. I mean, I think we all went through that. We as kids going through that stage. They wanted to be in the streets.
Right.
They wanted to experience that street life because a lot of this stuff is a choice. It ain't like we was born into anything. I realized growing up that everything is based on a choice and a decision because you didn't have to do it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's like my uncle Raymond Washington started the Crips, but everything I did was a choice. I didn't do it because Raymond was my uncle. Nobody really knew that was my uncle because I never said nothing.
Right.
But it was a choice that I made. You know what I'm saying? Of being involved in the streets because a lot of my friends is from the neighborhood that I grew up with. So, I mean, I feel him though because he one of the guys I looked up to. You know what I'm saying? Lil Loney, Peanut, so Poochie, it's a lot of dudes that I can name. Weasel, I mean, that I looked up to literally and watched them, and it's just like, shit, I'm gonna mimic these dudes. Like he's the fighter.
Right.
I learned, I was a fighter growing up, so it was like I'm finna,
Put some work.
and you know what I'm saying. So
I think
When,
I think to add comment to what Ron is saying, to give y'all a little bit more insight into where my mind was, because I think as I reflect, a child is basically picking out the shiny things that catches his eye. So as a outsider, not being on the inside, back in those early days, in the late '70s, mid to late '70s, us kids that were, you know, let's just say on the block when the Crips walked through, they looked cool. We didn't know what was going on inside. We just saw these dudes that had these muscles and it was a movement. They looked powerful. So hey, I think that would be cool. And also having that background you also get from my story, the background, like my mother being from the Midwest, you know, being a part of that whole, struggle with, fighting segregation and fighting for equal rights and stuff like that. Her constantly pounding that in my head to see a group of young men, together for me was attractive. I think because it symbolized, a coming together for something greater, you know, for our people.
Right.
So when you get involved and then all this other stuff is going on the inside, you know, other things become more attractive. As a young man with a young mind or a young boy, because I couldn't imagine a 7, 8, 9 year old today doing or thinking the way that I was thinking. It would seem to be kind of like out of the box for me.
You think
Like,
so?
yeah, it would. I would be like, because you just don't think that that's something that's possible. And the first thing you do, well, where were your parents at? We already know that story, so I don't have to have a redundancy there on that with my story. But again, it goes back to what Ron said. It becomes a choice now. You know, if your mom and your dad ain't around to watch you every 5 minutes because they got their own business going on. I got the kids playing the Tonka trucks too and riding the dirt bikes and doing all that. I could have stayed course on that, but that for me, wasn't enough, to feel me in my moment
Right.
of searching for what I was looking for to feel whole as just a person at that time in my life. I believe in having a background in psychology. You know, I do know with that understanding, and there's two types of psychology. Let me just underscore that. There's, the psychology that you go to an institution, to you can call it an institution of learning, and you get, these white people that think that they know what's going on the inside of our stories, and they begin to write about, certain specifics because they may have someone in front of them as they learn from that project. But in those projects, in those inner cities, all of our stories are unique and a little bit different. So it takes someone from within our community that went through that struggle to understand our struggles. And then, I call that black psychology, understanding where we come from. So in black psychology, the whole ideal of it is, we have a lot of gaps that weren't filled for us. We didn't have the leverage to have wealth where our parents can spend more time with doing things with us that some people may have had in their lives. Both people, either the father walked away and it was the mom, or the two stayed together and it was too hard working. And that gave that room for the child to then be able to find those spaces to utilize that choice system. And it ain't like mama and daddy ain't telling you to do what's right. At the same time, it's something drawing you to go the other way. In the way that I think today, and I had a long conversation about it yesterday with a couple of fellas, one being my nephew. In order for you to really understand what's going on today, you have to think in reverse. You know,
What you mean by that?
what I mean by that is that there's this training process that we go through. From kindergarten through 12th and then higher learning, where they're teaching us all these things. You know what I mean? Where the true power is behind the scenes. Really got something totally different going on. But by the time you realize that, it's too late. You're already caught up in the system. So with reverse thinking, you're going to question anything that's in front of you. You're going to look for a different, how can I word it? You're going to look for an answer that's away from the norm. So if everybody's going right, I'm going to go left for sure. If everybody, want to put gold chains on, I'm going to make sure I don't have one on. And when you look at the truth, you see the people that have the wealth to do that, that's not doing it.
Right.
And it's a reason for it. But our people are so caught up in, that brainwashing process that to feel validated, this is what I need to do.
Why
Like,
do you think that is?
I think it just has something to do with, have not, and the emphasis that's placed around, you somebody if you got something, you know, and if you desire to have something and they're showing you all these things that they know that's really out of reach for you, any little thing that's close to that, you want to show it off. And it's a problem, because I'm looking at the substance of the person. I want to see into you. I want to see inside. I don't care what you got. Like, there's no, you can have $1 billion in it. Just a person to me. But it takes time to get to that level of understanding again. Because when everybody got $1 billion, guess what? We still people. We still all the same. So because you have one, what makes you different from me now? Because if I get one, we still gonna be the same. Now I'm looking at what's inside of you. So that starts with nothing. Because we're something without all that. That's just the way I believe, because I think in the opposite. If I hear gunshots over here, I'm looking over there. Why would I look over there? You're not gonna show me where it's really coming from. It's just like the sonic boom from one of those, F-18s. You don't see it, you just hear it. But by the time you hear it, it's been gone.
That's true. Now, in your opening that you read to us, you used the word delusional, right? So, how does that relate to what you've just shared with us?
Well, delusion is a big, big word when it plays a big role, let me put it that way, in the way the Crips, the Bloods, go through this brainwashing process to think that they can gain something good out of something destructive, right? Whether it's money, power, more murder, and that's the delusion. The delusion is the more I do, the greater I'm going to become. Because now it becomes, I'm going to be somebody. If I kill somebody, I'm going to be somebody. If I attain this, I'm going to be. When that's just a delusion, it's an illusion as well. Because all you're doing is destroying your soul. See, I believe that the more wrong you do, we all born good. And we start learning from others what evil and bad is. And the more you involve yourself in that, it can corrupt you to the core. And then you have, like you tell those, you having a show about serial killers, like, man, you're corrupted to the core. There's nothing inside of you good no more. All the light in you is gone. And that delusion towards power can get you to the point to where you feel like you're bigger than everything around you, and you're really not. And you hurt people in that process. It's people right now. We can talk politics alongside of it, which is the evidence of what I'm talking about on a grander scale. You can get so caught up in your own going back and forth that you deny millions of people the aid that they've been receiving, just based on your, the back and forth of what you think someone should get and what someone should not get.
Isn't that horrible?
Yeah, I think it's also too like the pursuit of power, right?
That's all it is.
Yeah, and you talked about gentlemen or guys in your neighborhood that you looked up to. When you guys think about those people, did you look at them through the lens of power? Was that what was attractive?
You asking me, or
Both of you.
okay. For me, it was just, power exuded from this individual. He was down. I mean, you're not gonna look at from the gang perspective. You're not looking at someone that has something in their background that's shameful to the set and say, oh, that's somebody I want to aspire to be like. You looking at this dude that's standing up for everything that's on the table that we believe in, and we have a term for it, representing the flag in the right way. It's just like the American flag. So we just a lower level of how the government and the military and anybody else that pledges their allegiance, we're serving it, so we're looking for the best examples in it.
Mm-hmm.
And some of the guys that I named, uh, for me at that time in those days was that. And then as I got older, some of them, validated the whole delusional part of that word that I used in the beginning. Wasn't always real. And it wasn't really about none of that, because at the end of the day, none of it is attainable. You lose yourself to it.
Right.
You lose yourself searching for the power.
You lose yourself searching for that power.
Mm-hmm.
Because so many things that you do along that way to get to it, that's just not worth it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, our kids' blood spilling out in the streets.
Yeah.
That's cool.
It's not a good look.
Our women, I mean, just look how women think today. Like, he kind of addressed it last time we was on the show. Sisters today, you know, and when I say sisters today, I'm talking about a generation, a specific target age group of young ladies. For one, they running around with everything hanging out. So let me just tell you how it works for me, the way that I see that. So back in the day, the ladies were a little bit more mysterious with how they moved, and men, we really not looking for somebody with all that hanging out like that. Not good men.
Do you think men of their generation are looking for that?
Men of their generation ain't even looking at that because it's in front of them wherever they go. So now it becomes a competition between the women on how much of that they can throw around. Like, it's that bad. You don't even, like, for me, when I see a young lady and everything's hanging out, I'll turn my head. But if I'm with somebody in that same age bracket, they won't even look around. Why? Because they see it so much. I'm surprised. I'm like, dang, she really walked out. He's not, because this is what's going on. But I was gone so long that it's shocking to me. I mean, it's always been a red light district.
Yeah, but that's true. Yeah.
Right?
Right.
But we're not talking about, the red light district. We talking about just coming out your house in a grocery store, and it's crazy. It's too much.
You said it's too much. Ryan, you think it's too much?
Yeah.
Hey, look, what happened to the class? Look.
What do you think happened? I don't know. What happened to it?
I just think that the women are more aggressive than the men in this day and time, man. I remember the men used to be a little bit more aggressive in trying to get at someone, not physically aggressive, but just more verbally aggressive and just
they pursued the young woman.
Now you get out here, man. Women is like, I just want to A, B, and C. I want to do what you would normally say. You know what I'm saying? And me, it'd be like, it'd be like
too much.
Too
much because, like I say, but been gone so long, I'm not used to that. So it's just like, let me back up, man. I don't know about this, but I see it now. I've been out here almost 7 years, and I really see it. Like you say, the clothing, their approach, everything is just like different.
Do you think there's anything that the younger generation of men have put out into the world that has changed how women respond to them?
Yeah, they disrespectful too. But for me, with what I know, the knowledge that I have in me, I start thinking about, like Willie Lynch, because women, like he said, are aggressive. Why? Because the men are not. They don't stand up. They don't know how to stand up for a woman. So I think that women have been trying to stand up for themselves for so long that now it's being manufactured in the genetics for women to come out and feel like they have to be so dominant, because they have men that don't want to do nothing but lay up on them. You know,
Mm-hmm.
my mother always told me, hey, a good man will take care of his woman if he can, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you know, a man trying to help a woman do anything is looked down upon, where she feels like I got to get out there and get it myself. And then she gets this mentality of aggression.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
So what she used to be shameful of probably doing out front in the open in front of everybody, she don't have that mental editor no more to think that that's wrong.
Mm-hmm.
So it's two roles being played. So when I say Willie Lynch, I'm thinking, okay, we already know that the first order was to demasculate the male child and to make the female masculine,
Mm-hmm.
you know, to breed in a woman this order to feel she needs to protect her male child because at any time he can be snatched up, dragged off, tied to a whipping post,
Mm-hmm.
beat half to death,
Yeah.
or even take it a step further. If she's disobedient, we can just tie her up to a whipping post
Mm-hmm.
and cut the fetus right out of her.
Mm-hmm.
So that's for a woman that can be very traumatic. So she would want to shield her son. But in the process of thinking she needs to shield her son, she's handing him off female attributes. So, and then the lady are becoming more masculine as a result of, because it, like, I can never see a female calling me the B word. Like, you gotta be out, you gotta be out your mind, you know. But the younger
Right.
gen, they use it like, and then the men that's being called that, they their reaction to it is just for
Crazy.
me, it's crazy.
Crazy.
Right. Crazy.
Like,
Yes,
can't
cause
even no dude call me that.
I know
that's
Like,
so disrespectful of
man,
it.
that's fighting words
come
right
on
there,
now.
Mm-hmm.
man.
Mm-mm.
Like, that's just like something you like. And my wife, I love her. She's beautiful. She's amazing. She's a great warrior for me. There's been times when I've been upset and it slipped, but I knew that once I let that go, that she was gonna fight back, which is good
Mm-hmm.
because it lets me know that this is something that you ain't supposed to do.
Right.
So I have to get better control of myself when I'm angry and not disrespect her on that level, which I have gotten a lot better, you
Amen.
know. But we a decade in, so we know each other.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And it
Mm-hmm.
ain't,
Yeah.
it ain't been,
But buttons to go.
yeah,
Don't
yeah,
push
yeah,
that
yeah,
one because if
right,
you push
right.
that one, I'm gonna push that one.
Exactly. So I kind of understand that, you know, this one right
Right.
here ain't going for it, but I love to see that in her because she's a lady in every sense of the letter.
Mm-hmm.
You know, she, she, and a lady to me is a woman that respects herself first
Mm-hmm.
and reverences God. I don't care about, that's beautiful to me,
Mm-hmm.
you know. But anyway, not to get too far off subject matter,
Okay.
I just think that, the whole Willie Lynch is being, it's in full effect, it's fully exposed for what it was, aimed out to bring about in our people. And we have not the knowledge of to know that it was a setup from the beginning for this to
Mm.
all play out this way. And there's some people somewhere saying, look,
Right.
we toying with them. It
Yeah.
worked.
Mm-hmm.
So how do we fix it? Because we could talk about it all the time,
How do
how
you think
bad
we
it
start
is.
to fix it?
We have to
It's
reject it
fixable.
when we see it. Put some clothes on if I want to see that. You know, that's the page men have to be on and then the ladies have to be on. Put your money back in your pocket. It ain't attractive.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
It's calling it
Straight up.
out.
Because a lot of men go get the bag because they think it's going to get them the ladies.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's part of it.
It's definitely.
Having
know?
money
Having money, yeah.
Yeah.
For the have-nots.
for the have-nots.
For the have-nots. So you got the guy on the corner that never had nothing in his life, not even a girlfriend.
Mm.
And he looks around and he oh, you can have this and that. That can be part of the process of initiation too,
Mhm.
of wanting to be involved.
Mm-hmm.
Because with it comes the things that I can't get without it. Again, delusion and illusion.
Mm.
But don't you think we live in a country that systematically reinforces that for all races,
Yeah,
right?
I believe that, but I believe that
But
leaders of every race should see that that's wrong
Mm-hmm.
and change it.
Mm-hmm.
So that starts with me speaking on it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that starts with a man that thinks that he can't tell his wife or his girlfriend or his lady or his woman, I love you, or, express, you know, to the ladies that he see how beautiful they are without it being lustful.
right.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Because the ladies need to hear it and they need to know it's coming from a genuine place.
Right.
It's not nothing behind it.
How do you guys think we increase communication?
Just like
Show.
this.
Yeah.
The show?
And we
Just
keep
like
doing it.
this.
Just gotta talk about it. It's like this big alligator. It's probably even larger. It is larger than that, but it's just you take little chunks, little pockets of time, and just
And
try to
chip away at it.
chisel away. Right, like escape at Dannemora. Just go down there every day. Chip, 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 chip.
I know
I know it
females
sounds
that would
daunting, but it
express
is.
this same thing that I'm saying. They would say the same thing about the females that they see and know around them. I'm sure you two ladies can also kind of that y'all know.
It's why. I mean, I shouldn't say it's why. I just like to respect everyone, but I had a, with that, you gentlemen are not the first gentleman of our age group to mention that to me, and it's just like, man, it's overwhelming. Like that's why the gentleman wanted us to incorporate our show
Mm-hmm.
with his network. He's like, it was refreshing to see your show. It
Mm-hmm.
wasn't like everything wasn't hanging out, and
Mm-hmm.
we could just, it was intelligent women that are nice looking. He was
Mm-hmm.
like, oh my god, I want you on our network. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I mean? That kind of
Mm-hmm.
thing. And
Mm-hmm.
at first she was like, what is, you got to vet people,
Mm-hmm.
right? So,
Mm-hmm.
weirdo, right? But no, after a while, he was like, no, like seriously, like
Mm-hmm.
I'm for real. But then he has a platform for that. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? Because like he says, there's a market for it. There's a market for it. So
Mm-hmm.
he wants to, obviously you're a businessman, but yeah, it's very interesting that you say that.
Yeah. It's destructive too, though. Even though the more that's the thing. It's enough. It's a better way to make money without having to exploit our women or sell our souls. And if not, and I don't even think it's a if not with that because I don't see the super wealthy doing that. Super wealthy. They got secrets and closet stuff going on, but it ain't about the money though.
They got skeletons
Right,
behind
right,
Yeah,
them.
it
right,
ain't
right,
it ain't got
right,
nothing to
right,
do
right.
with the money. For our people, most ladies, I didn't heard them say it. Shit, I ain't got no time unless you got some money.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I just wow.
And the youngsters
That's
be like,
wild.
oh, I got it,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
they
yeah.
start pulling all this bread out. You know.
So there's a loss of values,
Mm-hmm.
right? It doesn't matter like what that person
It's
stands
gone.
for, who they are, or
It's
what they
gone.
believe in, as long as you've got money.
You got that going on. You got people killing people. Like, unfortunately, my homeboy Big U lost his son.
Yeah,
You
I
know.
heard that. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Again, we come from a. There's just and then you have people, you know, speaking and saying all the most horrible things about this is karma, this, that, and the other, and not having the compassion to think about a
Yeah,
mother and a father losing a child.
right.
All that, whatever you want to say, shouldn't matter. And I was ruthless as fuck. You know,
Sorry.
I had your ass ran up under some shit, and then I'll come piss on you.
Wow.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
but when it came to stuff like that, and there's that's also mentioned in my autobiography. There's always been this thing from the early days where women and children were off limits. And that means if you my homeboy, we can have conflict. But I would never wish nothing bad on your family,
Mhm.
you know. Now it's all it all goes like, you deserve it. Screw you, people. And then, they talking about karma. It's only karma until it happens to you.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Then you don't call it karma,
Mm-hmm.
you know. You ain't gonna say, "Oh, this is karma because this happened to me." It's gonna be just, "Oh, it just happened that way." But you don't do that. It ain't the first time I seen that happen. But it's personal now because it's touching. It's coming from someone, in my family. And when I say that, I say the group of guys that I consider to be family
Mhm.
based on their actions towards me and how it's always been. I don't care about the fallouts we may have had.
Mhm.
Trust me, we've had them. All of us have. Me
Mhm.
and him has never, but most of us had disagreed, but never to the level where I would ever want to see something happen to his son or his daughter, his mother, his father,
Yeah.
his cousin, his brother, whatever. Like, we don't go that far now. At the same time, doing community service work now myself, just on the sidelines, being more of a credible messenger. Adding my little bits and pieces to the puzzle where things missing. I take that same concept and I apply it to all black people, and not only just limit it to black people, but human beings. Now it
Mhm.
becomes, okay, if I'm thinking like that just for my people, then I should extend that to all people.
Mhm.
But it's easy for me to grasp that because when I was a kid, the big homies used to be like, "No, cause we don't fuck with the kids. We don't fuck
Mhm.
with the ladies." Now the ladies is getting drugged, getting killed in front of the kids getting murdered with them.
Mhm.
What the hell happened? This is not what the dudes that's in jail, been there 40, 30, 40 years, is sitting there clapping their hands for.
Mhm.
Because that was the one thing that we deemed to be sacred to us. I can go to bed in prison knowing that my mother and my sisters would be okay.
Mhm.
When do you think that changed?
Ron, chime in, please. I can give my perspective on it, but
Mhm.
I would like to hear his because maybe his would coincide with mine, and we can then give you something solid that,
Mhm.
that makes sense in these times, these perilous times.
Oh man, you really are.
I just feel like there's no respect. There's no respect in this day and time for anyone. Like you got these youngsters that don't respect anything. You know what I'm saying? You see these women's getting drugged. You see, like you said, Big Bro's son was murdered, and you got people in the when this popped up in the social media, you got people saying this and saying that, disregarding the feelings of the family. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? The moms, the dads, the siblings. You know what I'm saying?
So,
His brother
Mm, nice.
was just playing football today, and he said he's playing in honor of his brother. So I just feel like, man, the respect is gone when it comes to that. Me growing up, my parents, I had both my parents in my life, so I was raised in a certain way. My dad from Texas, my mother was from the Midwest, from Omaha, and they raised us right. Like I
Mhm.
say, the decisions I made was mine, with nobody else. Nobody pushed me to the streets. Nobody discounted me or was like I felt like I wasn't noticed and wasn't nothing like that. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But me growing up, as as PJ would have said, people family was off limits. If I see you and I got a problem with you, that don't mean I got a problem. I don't have a problem with your brother, your sister, your mama, your dad. I don't have a problem with them. If it's gonna be a problem, it's gonna be with me and you, and we just deal with it. We go, you want to talk about it, or we just get it out the way. But it has nothing to do with your family, and it was pushed like that to me through my homies. You know what I'm saying? So, and my dad told me that. You know, he said, if you ever have a problem with that person, let it be with that person. Don't make it about the whole family. It's about that person, and you just have to come with an understanding or a solution with that person. Don't be mad at everybody else because you're mad at him. And I guess in this day and time, people have, if you got a problem with me, then you got a problem with him, or you got a problem with him, everybody I deal with, which is not right, because I'm not telling you to have no problem with him. Me and you had a problem. So let's just deal with it. Let's me and you just either talk about it or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Or we don't have to talk. But it has nothing to do with them. You can not tell my brothers and them, everybody I deal with, if I got a problem with a person, don't make it your problem, bro.
Right.
Don't make it your problem, because whatever it is, it could be reconcilable, or if it don't, it just don't. I'm not gonna tell you not to keep dealing with this dude, because that's your prerogative. I'm not gonna tell you how to do your program and deal with people because I have a problem with it.
Right.
And a lot of these dudes now, like say, I have a problem with somebody, and PJ deal with this dude. I might tell PJ, man, forget that dude. I don't mess with him. Why you mess with that dude? I don't mess with him. We got into it, man. F that dude. Whoop-de-whoop. So I'm encouraging him to have that same attitude that I got, which is not right. It's not right. Because we grown for once. We grown. You can think for yourself. I want you to think for yourself. I want you to have compassion on what you feel and not what I feel. If I feel ill will about somebody, I don't want to take your compassion away from that dude, because I may feel a certain type of way.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And that's just with my siblings too. I tell them, man, whatever, you got to give me a reason to not deal with this guy because you don't like this person. Give me a reason to, because you gotta sit down to me and talk to me about everything this person done to you to make me feel the way you want me to feel. Other than that, you can't make me feel ill will about some person because you do. I'm not. If he didn't put his hands on you, it'll be cool. I mean, you know, I just keep it respectful. But I'm not gonna just have an ill will with nobody because somebody else does. That just. I was taught, even with the homies, because you got a problem, because I got a problem, don't mean you have a problem with them.
Right.
Especially if y'all from the same neighborhood. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of crazy to me.
You said an interesting word, respect. When you think about when you guys were young and involved in the 60s, and then you went away, did your time, and now you're back, has the definition of respect remained the same over that period of time?
Absolutely
Or has
not.
respect changed?
It changed.
It's changed.
It's tainted.
Yeah.
The word respect is tainted.
Yeah.
You taint the word because respect is the same definition. People just taint it, man. They actions. So for me, I have to stand on what respect really is. I can't make you stand on what I stand on. But what I am going to do is stand on what the definition is of respect. Because I respect all my big homies the same. I respect him. I respect everybody the way the word respect is supposed to be respected. And I really respect my homies because me growing up, they used to make me go to school. If they catch me ditching, they used to make us go to school. On everything. They used to, Big U was one of them. We ditching school? Why you ain't in school? It's 12 o'clock. Why you ain't in school? Oh, shit.
Like,
Yeah, you know
on my
what I'm
way.
Better
saying?
get there.
Yeah, so, you know, a lot of my homies had enough love for us to make sure that education was cool. There's nothing wrong with having education, man, especially the ones that's been to jail and was going to school and all that. Because I got a lot of homies that had scholarships, sports. They could have did something with themselves, but the hood took them down.
Mhm.
Some made it, some didn't.
I
What do
want
you?
to answer your question too. I want to add to it
Mhm.
because you asked an interesting question. Historically, the reason why the women and children are off limits had to be because somebody crossed that line. You know, again, when you start thinking in reverse, you start thinking, well, why would that even be something that one would consider? Well, it had to happen. So, in retrospect, I recall it happening, in my own neighborhood, you know what I mean, where something like that had been carried out. However, it wasn't the first order. It's something like how the devil was up there and then he just thought he just can just do whatever he wanted and he did the wrong thing
Mhm.
and he had some followers, but it wasn't the first order. So as a result of that mistake, then there was a memorandum issued on it.
Mhm.
Women and children off limits.
Mhm.
But then it began to happen more and more. Why? Because there was no one around to check that.
Mhm.
You know, we still had big homeboys that would check you if you was out of pocket on the rules.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Wasn't no rogueness. Just you couldn't just run around doing whatever you want.
Mhm.
You know, it was order there.
Mhm.
Some of us strive to be militant about it for real. You know, but for the most part, underneath that, it was just certain things. When you walked in your house, that was your sanctuary with your
Mhm.
family.
Yeah, for sure.
And the same thing in prison. When I come off the yard, I don't want to sit in there with my celly on to talk about everything that we just walked in
Right.
from having to deal with. Like, dude, I don't want to hear that shit. It's my time to,
Mhm.
grab my Bible, pray. Thank God for letting me see another day, getting through the day, and to kind of, just release all that tension that, you have to carry when you out there walking that 4 yard,
Mhm.
you know,
Man.
where you gotta have a body on you.
Mhm.
No rogueness, not just walking around,
Yeah.
you know. And that wasn't something that prison created. That was already there before they got to prison, and then they just instituted it there,
Mhm.
you know.
That's true.
So when I see like weird shit going on, like some things are redeemable for me, and some things aren't. Like you can't redeem hurting women and children. Like
Yeah.
you can't get back. So I understand why you slapping child molesters on the wrist. Oh, you must be one.
Mm.
For real.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Yeah.
See what you're saying.
Mhm.
You gonna give me 100 years for a robbery, and you gonna give him 2 years for eating up the kids.
That
That
is
ain't
so
right.
Something
sadly
ain't
Yeah.
right about
true.
that.
That's
It's
So
not
not
right.
nah.
yeah.
So who all involved on that level with that?
Mhm.
Right. But it's pick
That
and
goes back
choose.
to really thinking about what it really is.
And then get out and do it again and again and
Yeah.
again.
Again, repeat offender.
You can't.
Cereal.
There's no
Mhm.
That's a
something
sickness.
that's
Yeah.
you can't redeem within you. It's like you gotta cut it off.
Mhm.
I had to cut it off
You gotta cut
before
it
then.
all the way off. It's over. You're like, dude, you don't get a second chance for that.
Mhm.
You know why you
No
don't?
more.
Nah, yeah, you don't get a chance. Because one, physically, a man can dominate a woman, so it's not fair.
No.
Some
Mhm.
women are good though. They kick certain people's, but for the most part, I just seen a couple of these dudes like damn, he just broke out in a 50-yard dash trying to get away, right? So,
Yeah.
granted, but you know what I mean when I say
Mhm.
physically,
No,
like,
yeah.
Right.
or I don't live with the kind of fear that you live with, at nighttime, maybe having to walk by a strange
Mhm.
street or, wherever you may be alone and
Mhm.
start feeling like, I don't know
Away.
what that feel like,
Mhm.
but the
Ooh.
ladies do. So that
Yeah.
means that you have that feeling for a reason. So that means any man around you should protect you from that. And if you feeling that, it's because you either heard or have been violated before.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So we
Wow.
got to get to the root cause of things and start dealing. Like, oh, well, he was a bad kid. He ended up in juvenile hall. He just told you the story.
Right.
You just know a piece of it, man. Shut up. Shut the fuck up.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse my language.
No,
I
that's
don't,
good.
That's fine.
yeah, you know. Part of it was environment. The other half of it was choice. You know, you don't know the whole story. You know,
Do you think some of those things are survival?
a lot of it is, yeah, if you think that this is your world where you need to survive in, like a lot of people can't think outside of that box. Thank you
No, yeah.
for the
I agree.
word. Yeah. That's all they know.
Right.
I
Especially
did a
in
lot of
prison.
mindful meditation in prison where, you know, we start training the brain to think outside of that environment. And I was so amazed how much I was able to let go of being able to remove myself from that area just in the mind,
That's it.
Mm-hmm.
you know? Like, I don't have to be here because I'm here physically. Okay, what y'all
Man.
talking about? I'm over here with it.
Right.
Oh, you got a problem physically? Okay, y'all want to still play with me? You know, I've had people, you know, want to play, but as soon as I come out there serious,
So
here they
let's
go.
get down.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because I'm just going to ask you simply because I've been told in the past that I jumped the gun. You know, so my thing is, hey, do you want to hurt me in any way? No, all right, I'm out.
Right.
Because, you know, I'm here now to deal with it. Like, if you tell me, yeah, we going. If you tell me no, okay, I'm out. So you
Right.
get spared. Don't play with me
Beautiful.
because I'm not playing with you because my life is serious and I want to get
Yeah.
free one day and see my family.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm
Yeah.
fighting for them. So you know how I'm a trip.
Right.
You
Hold on
know,
to
I
that.
didn't grew up and grew out.
Mm-hmm.
Man,
But that heart is still there.
Mm-hmm.
listen,
doubt.
this is an amazing
No
story,
doubt.
guys. But we have gone over time.
We always do.
Oh
I
wow, we
know.
have.
I'm sorry.
We just sitting here like we at home, you know what I mean?
That
But
is.
thank
This is
you.
a very intriguing and important
Conversation.
That was an important
And
subject, though,
Right.
what you just
Important
talked
we
about.
conversation.
ain't
So
finished.
Did
We'll
we
be back.
dive in deep enough or it seemed
Sounds
like
to me
Yeah.
like there might be a part 3
I know
brewing.
if they want to come back.
I
Definitely.
know I'm all frowned up. They're gonna be like, "Well, what's wrong with PJ? He was
No,
frowned up the whole time.
no.
You
Mad
were
at all these,
passionate.
yeah.
Yeah. That's
there's
true.
weird stuff
Thank
going
you.
on,
Yeah, it's a
man.
Yeah.
bunch of like we call it fuck boy shit.
Mm.
You know,
Okay.
stop doing our people like that. Like
Yeah.
we here, like quit backstabbing your friends too.
Exactly.
Jesus.
You know, so when I say delusions, and I'm gonna readdress this one more time,
Mm.
Right.
and I want to shout out to all my loved ones like
Mm.
Mimo, Peanut, Craze, Baby Ron. He home now. He doing his thing. Uh, my boy Killer, my wife.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And others, if I didn't call you out, you know who you are. I just, you know, and their stories are powerful, just as powerful. So I'm thundering my voice through them too, and for
Amen.
them.
Right.
You know, and I think if we all come together doing that in every area, we, those of us that are real lions, can get together and we can remove these jackals, hyenas, coyotes, and everything else that's just running around in the way trying to get something for nothing off our
Right.
women and our kids.
That's true.
Straight up.
Amen.
Well, this has been a dynamic conversation. We invite the two of you to come back for part 3. We can get like a series going.
Yeah, we can.
That would be
Absolutely.
I like
wonderful.
that.
Me
Great.
too.
Mm.
Well, thank you guys for listening
Thank
and
you.
have a good one.
All
All right.
right.
Take care.